Hey, welcome to Generation H. We got Carlos. We got Daryl. We got Big Dilly. All right, Carlos, take it away.
No, y'all guys didn't see that.
No, what are we starting with?
You want to shoot it first, Daryl?
So what I was thinking is we kind of go into, like me and you were talking about raising capital. Because raising capital is probably the biggest misperception for new investors. Because when you're new, you think you have to have all this money to get started in real estate. Yeah. Realistically, you don't have to have little to any money to really get started. Yeah. It's all about who you know and when you know them.
Yeah. It is. It's definitely about who you know. It's also about what you know.
What you know,
right? Because you need to come in with different strengths.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you
partner with somebody that has that strength that you don't have, because you're not there yet.
Yeah. So like, say in that example, for example, I would say somebody would have to like bring the deal. Right, like if say you don't have any cash, but you're being really resourceful and you're like finding a deal, then I feel like then finding cash isn't that difficult. Right?
Isn't that difficult? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was saying, there's like three things on a triangle: expertise, cash, and hustle. And if you don't have the cash, you have to have expertise and hustle in this system in order for you to actually do deals. In my opinion, I think you have to have two of the three. In my opinion, I think you either have to have cash and hustle, cash and expertise, or expertise and hustle. Because it is hard to do without cash unless you have the expertise and have the hustle, knowing how to fix up properties and stuff like that. But and that's my opinion. I don't know if you guys.
There are lenders though that will loan to you with little to no experience as long as it's a low risk property. Because I think the first property that I started, I bought it for $30,000.
Yeah.
So it was little to no risk because the house was worth $200,000.
Yeah, but I feel like that's where hustle comes.
Yeah, and expertise and knowing your numbers on it.
Yeah. Like you moved on it, you moved in quick, and then you closed on it, and
and so I do agree. And that's why you can partner with somebody. I take on a lot of young investors because they found the deal, they hustled their way to find the deal, but they didn't know any money or where to go with it. So I came in and I was their second partner.
Yeah,
right.
So and you've done that a couple of times.
Yeah. Especially with the new investors, new wholesalers. Yeah, those are probably, in my opinion, some of the better deals.
Agreed.
Just because, again, they need to put some skin on the table,
And I make them work too. I'm like, hey, look, you're going to Lowe's, you're grabbing the windows, the doors. Yeah. We're loading your truck up.
Yeah,
You're not just coming in and finding the deal, and then I'm doing all the construction, and we're splitting 50-50.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay splitting 50-50, but I want you to put in a little bit of groundwork.
Because, like, I think finding the deal is only the beginning of the hustle.
Oh, that's 25-30%.
Yeah, and then once you find it, like, actually getting through. Because how many things have we all started that we don't finish? I mean, I think we're all guilty of it, right? But, like, this is one thing that you can't. This is one thing that you can't do that way, right? Like, you need to complete the project. Even if it's mediocre, just finish the damn thing and then put it up for sale or put it up for rent or whatever. Yeah. But so say you have the hustle, say you have the deal, whatever. Like I know I sometimes get intimidated by some of the guys that have been in the game for 7, 10, 15, 20 years, right? But like for someone who's never found money before, just finding a lender. Like for me, it was almost by chance. Like I went to just a real estate event, sat down. It was like one of those oddball ones that I found on meetup.com. I went to it in my local market where I wanted to go, sat down at a table. Before they started the presentation, we started to all introduce ourselves. And one guy was like, yeah, I'm a real estate agent and I'm also a lender. And I was like, oh, cool.
That's
boom. And I was like,
that's the best way to find lenders, in my opinion, is going to those in-person meetups. Yeah. Or you can search on Google too. But I mean, the local ones are the better ones. They'll treat you better, and you can always. They could help you too.
I was gonna say not only that, but that lender could also help you. Now, granted, mine didn't really help me, but I've heard of other lenders to where they actually are a little bit more hands-on lenders than a lot of the other ones. With me, they just were like, "Hey, look, here's money."
Yeah, and you'd rather have it that way, which is good for you. Yeah. But some newer people might want the lender
something like that. Because it would have been nice to find a lender that actually wanted to help us a little bit, because then it would have sped my process up.
Right.
Because my
new contractor. I mean, contractor's the biggest one. A lot of lenders do have access to it. Yeah. They usually come from a real estate flipping background.
Exactly.
Most of them. Yeah. They don't just go straight into real estate lending unless they get like an inheritance or something and don't know what to do with their money. But usually they start out flipping and then they go into rentals and then they become lenders.
Become the lender at the end. Yeah.
And there's a big difference too, right? Well, one thing that I want to make super clear is like, just because they're a lender doesn't mean that they have millions and millions and millions of dollars, right?
Very, very
like they
true.
might be guys that are just entrepreneurial mindset. They just want to make their money grow in their own control, right?
Yeah.
They're entrepreneur.
Yeah, 200,000-300,000, and then
they lend it out. They lend it out once. They have that good relationship with you. They're following up. They're seeing how you're doing. Do you need any help? And they'll just keep up because they. I mean, it's $300,000, $200, whatever it is that they're lending you. That to them is still a lot of money.
It's still a lot of money because they're
it
not
gets
multi-million-dollar.
If it gets lost, like. They're gonna take the L. You know, just like it would for anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are.
Now they're back to flipping.
Exactly, because they gotta make that money back. But like, so like those small time lenders, those private lenders, are, in my opinion, to your point, are like awesome because you can like have those one-on-ones. Yeah. But then there's another level to it, and that was like, I won't say super weird, but like there was a lot more red tape. There's a lot more reservations for me when I started talking to more like hard money, like institutional lenders.
Agreed.
And it was just like all these fucking points and, you know, fill out this paperwork and how many have you done? And like, it was just like all this stuff. And I was just like, damn, is it worth it? And then, and that was just like the paperwork stuff. Yeah. And then once they started getting to like the charges,
the defaults.
And they check your credit most of those.
They check your credit. Yeah. And those are like, I don't know, would you say that those are probably better? If you had to restart, would you go with, would you be okay with going with like a hard money or would you stay?
If you didn't know any difference, I don't think it would matter as much because you wouldn't know how the other lenders did it. So you would think that was normal, that you had to put in more work to get the deal versus. Yeah. Because I know me, I just get them under contract, call my guy, he's looks it up on Google and he's like, hey, here you go.
Good to go.
I guess it depends on your cash situation too, whichever one requires more down, less down, which one you can work with better. As well, you got to take that into consideration.
I guess there's a lot of options.
For you guys, like how much do y'all have to have down when you go to buy a house? Like, do your lender require anything?
I think, at least for me, nothing. So I get 100% finance, but I do finance all the repairs.
All the repairs. Gotcha.
I don't think I've ever taken draws or anything like that.
Okay.
I usually buy and get money back. Okay. So I guess they fund some of the repairs, but it's not on draws. So if I buy it for $130, they give me $150. So $130 plus closing costs, and then I'll get the difference.
You get the difference.
So you get like a 15. I'll get like you get 15 grand at closing.
And that gets you started.
And that gets us started to order windows and whatever else, and then I put the difference in.
Nice.
So I'm going through my first like draws situation, and it's weird. It feels like a bad.
It's weird, right?
Have you asked for it yet?
Not yet. I'm gonna ask for it next week. I really want to get to a certain point with the project where it's like, look, we've done a lot.
And then there's two types of draws. I know some guys to where they go to do draws, they want receipts on everything you spent. You spent $5,000 on siding, $2,000, so then they're gonna stroke you a $7,000 check.
I really hope that's not the case.
Oh yeah. So with my guy, it's totally different. Okay. It's hey, it's $10,000. He strokes you $10,000, and it goes straight into your bank account, not even a check.
Yeah. And so the bad thing about it too is you're paying interest on that money that's not even in your pocket yet.
From the beginning too. If you borrow $135,000, $100 for the purchase, $35 for the rehab, $135 is starting from day one.
Yeah.
And that's also what's on the deed of trust. So if something happens, you're gonna owe them $135,
and you didn't even collect the draw.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, but it is kind of tricky because you're right. There are different products out there. Like the guy that we usually talk to is like he'll fund the acquisition and he'll fund the renovations. Yeah. But then of the total, you have to come to the table with a percentage. Whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25%, whatever your experience level is. Nice. So you do have to sometimes.
So at closing when you purchase it.
Yeah, for some people that I've heard.
You too? Does he do that with you?
Sometimes. Usually he funds 100% of the purchase, and then I usually pay for the rehab. But sometimes here lately they've been in like I don't consider them risky areas, but he doesn't know the area as well. Yeah. So he's like, hey, I need 10% down on this one. I'll fund 90%, you do the 10, and he'll do the 10 on draws. So I'll finish part of the work, and then he'll refund me that 10. So now he's 100% purchase.
So it probably depends on how many times you've done deals with him, and that's why Carlos might be getting a little different treatment at first.
So that's exactly why. So when you're going to these new lenders, some of them are going to require more just because you're new to them. Not even new to investing, but new to them.
Yeah, it's like a hazing. I look at it as like a cost of doing it. It's hazing. Exactly they're wanting to like put you through stress, make sure that you're you're good for it, and then once that happens, I feel like then you just kind of
real estate university, right?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it really is. The hard knocks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, cool. Well, quick. It was a quick recap on I guess private money lending,
private money lending.
Yeah.
Or raising capital in general, because a lot of people don't realize, but you can raise capital from people around you too. Just recently, literally, this happened to me last week, to where the people at my bank, the bank branch manager and the assistant manager were like, hey, we want to get involved in real estate. How can we do it? We went to dinner, and they don't have time. They can't find deals. So the best way for them is they had a little cash, so now they're loaning it to me on interest per year.
So are they gonna be on the deed of trust?
They are, yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna set them up and show them how to do it. So then one day they can legitimately be hard money lenders once they get to a certain point.
Are they setting up a trust, or are they setting up how are they?
So we're just doing it in their names right now. Okay. But I did tell them it would be better to start an LLC. You guys be joint owners. Put that whole 100, because they're both doing 50 each. And they're just going to collectively $100,000. You have it in one LLC. You do a deed of trust with one LLC and make it way easier. And that was only because I go in there and I talk about what I do. That's the only. I don't know them from Adam, and we got to talking about real estate one day when I was cashing a check, and they were like, how do you do this? You come in here with these checks all the time, every week, and people are always meeting you for $20,000 checks. You're getting $30,000 checks. Like, what do you do? And that's all it started with, is a conversation.
And you know what is super funny? So when I first got my start, I was trying to raise capital because I was trying. When I first started, that I was gonna flip and do bigger do burrs, that kind of stuff. I was like, I have to collect money, right? I have to have $150,000 to buy the property, to renovate the property, and then I'll get cashed out. And then, so I thought that was the way to do it, right? Without actually putting stuff into practice. So I started going out and not door knocking, but I was reaching out to all my friends. I was reaching out to people that I knew, relatives, and I was just like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm looking for money, da da da. And I got shut down by a lot of people, and what was funny was that the majority of the people that I got shut down by were people who I thought had money. People who I was like, okay, they for sure.
You're talking about just your friends that had a lot of money.
Just people that I knew. You knew.
It was just they have money, right? So let me ask them. And no, they were just really tight, and without diving too far into it, it was just because of their lifestyle or how their life was set up, right? So you look like it, so they needed it, right? And then the people that I talked to that I didn't think would have any, they'd be like, okay, I'll lend you 25, I'll lend you 40, I'll lend you 75, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I was really surprised. So I had to find my way through, but I guess that was just a realization for me how different the lifestyle is of the people who actually have money. That was the first time. I understood it because of the people that I interacted with work, but it was just I don't know. You have a different perception when you're an employee, and you're just okay, people who have money show off, and people who don't, unless you're ultra wealthy.
Well, you see a suit and a Range Rover, you think of wealth. Realistically, that's payments. They make $10,000 a month. And they spend $10,000 a month, so really they have no money, but they have a good-looking lifestyle.
It's usually the entrepreneurs that don't spend much at all. Everyone that goes to the real estate meetings that are multimillionaires drive the crappiest cars and crappiest no Teslas, no Corvettes, nothing.
You know what? How expensive would you say is the most expensive car that shows up?
It's just got to be
maybe $50,000, like a truck, F-150 or something.
That's an F-150,
It's probably an F-150. It's probably a used F-150
or a Tahoe or something like that.
But most of the cars, I've plenty of millionaires that we know are driving around in Corollas.
Oh, Corollas,
like old Chevys.
My lender pulls up in a Corolla and he's got $12 million. I'm like, what?
He looks like a teenage girl that just got into college.
No kidding. Yeah.
Some old Corolla.
So I think you learn the value of $1 really when you become an entrepreneur. So you don't want to waste it because you know how hard it is to actually get that dollar.
And not only that, but you know how instead of going and spending $80,000 on a car, I'm gonna buy a $40,000 car and take the other 30 or 40 and put it in another house.
Yeah. I think too is the turnaround of that money, right? The velocity of money, right?
Like the rule of 72.
Yeah. If you have it and you burn it, it's gone forever, right? Like you don't know when your next paycheck's gonna be. You don't know when your next house is gonna flip. You don't know when your next refi. Like sure, you can schedule it out to some degree, right? But you might have a bunch of repairs happen next month, and you're like eating ramen noodles.
And I think that's the biggest difference between an employee mindset and our entrepreneur mindset, because we don't know when our next check is coming. It's not like we get paid every Friday or every other Friday.
Right.
It's more, hey, this one might close this month, but the home inspection might come back and push us out another 2 weeks, and now,
this person might pay rent on the 1st, or they might not.
This is true.
Yeah, and being a lender, because eventually I feel like we all want to become lenders to some degree, right?
Yeah.
But like, we have to walk into that kind of mindset. We have to be risk averse, right? So really kind of do our due diligence on the property and due diligence on the people that we're kind of vetting. So I think that was really a big shift for me a while back when I was like, okay, eventually, I think everybody wants to eventually graduate to be a higher level investor.
Yes.
And being a lender is a higher level of investing.
You make your money work for you. It's it's like the book, what's the book? Kiyosaki. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You have the cash flow quadrant. Which section do you want to be in? The I is the number one, because you are the investor. Yeah. Your money makes you more money.
Right? Yeah. I was talking to one of my lenders, and he was talking about how he has a certain set of money, and he could either lend it out, right, and get similar to what rent would be that he collects.
Yes.
Get similar payments in rent, and it's free and clear. Then he goes right back to his 401. Okay, right? Or he can just go out and buy an investment property and get similar rent, but then pay on a property. Sure, it's appreciating. There's a lot of different factors, but if it's going back to his 401k, then it's not it's going right into it's tax deferred, right? Like it's going right into that account. So he's still getting similar money, but he's working significantly less because he's never gonna have a toilet that calls in and it's like it's leaking. HVAC, I had to deal with 2 HVAC issues today because it's like you don't have to deal with that kind of stuff.
I had water issue today.
The water wasn't today's working. Hot, isn't it? Today's hot. I'm turning on their AC. They're like, the fan isn't going. I'm like, it's the hardest time to get an HVAC guy out there because they're getting so many calls.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So a good thing to do is tell your tenants to test the HVAC like 4 weeks prior to the warm-up day. Yeah, and same thing with heat, because then you can get the HVAC guy when he's not busy.
Yeah.
But going back to that, I feel like it depends on your age bracket too. Because age bracket, when I'm 50, 60 years old, I don't want to deal with tenants. I don't want to deal with all that crap. I want to deal with, I loan you this money, I make the same money as I would as a rent, and I don't have any problems or anything to deal with. Only thing I have to deal with is you defaulting, and then I get the house.
Yeah.
So
I think it goes back to his quadrant.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, okay, you don't want to hustle anymore.
You don't want to hustle anymore.
Yeah, you don't want to hustle anymore.
Cash
now you have the cash.
Cash and expertise, and now you're not
then you
the
focus
hustle.
on those two, and you're out of the hustle.
And now you find the people that are hustling, and now you get to fill in their triangle.
Right.
I mean,
all right, Brenda, can you put the triangle up? No, but eventually, I mean, the sooner we get there, obviously, the better, right? But with this shift in the economy,
we need a whiteboard because this.
I know.
I mean, this would be huge because people need to learn this stuff. I mean, if you're a new investor, you kind of need to learn how to go follow the steps. You're not going to go from no experience to multi-millionaire in a couple years. I mean, you can. I'm not saying you can't, but it's difficult depending on what part of your triangle you fit into.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a lot of skill sets you need to have in order to make that happen.
Yes.
I mean, you need to be a people person. You need to be able to have dedication. There's so many different levels to it because, you know, on our road, like we all run into ceilings that we all personally have, right?
Yep.
I mean, whether that's, I don't know, running out of cash, or that's not finding enough people, or you know, wholesalers, or time management, or whatever it is. Like we all have ceilings, and it's like, I mean, we all get attracted to like the YouTube sensation that like went from 0 to $100 million in like 4 years, and it's like, all right, that's great.
Yeah. In 4 more years, where are they gonna be?
Yeah,
I mean, we don't know.
And Mike Tyson 0, you know, like being back to 0. Yeah. No, but like you never know. So like for me, I've always been like a slow and steady guy.
Yeah.
Slow and steady, sure step. You know,
wins the race.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I might not get there the quickest, but I know that I'm gonna be in it. No matter what the storm comes around the bend.
Now, how long have you been doing this?
Actively full time since 2019.
Okay. So 3 years or so.
Yeah. So we're going on 3 years. I think in August.
That's
so
awesome.
4 more years it'll be.
Imagine,
4 more months.
I mean, look at what you've accomplished in 3 years.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And Dylan, how long you been doing this?
4. 1 year more.
4 years. Yeah. That's crazy.
Has it been 1 more year?
I started heavy.
18?
I bought my first one in 17, but then 1 in 17, and then like 8 in 2018.
Nice.
All in Petersburg.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Wow. So
but still, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah. Oh, 8 units. Not 8 properties.
Oh, with the duplexes and stuff.
Yeah.
No, but that's a big leap. So since 2017 and then 18, you were
That's huge.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because I started 5 years ago, but really, I was just dabbling. Yeah, I started off wholesaling because I had no money. So in 17, I wholesaled probably 6 deals. And then finally in 2018 is when I bought my first house to flip. I didn't even think rentals were an option at that point. Yeah. It was like, hey, how fast can I make some money? Because I don't want to do this job thing much longer. I mean, so then really 3 years ago is when I quit my job. Quit my job full time. And that's when everything changed.
Yeah.
Closing out for raising capital, there's tons of ways that you can raise capital. I mean, you've heard the way Dylan raised capital. You heard how Carlos raised capital, how I've raised capital. There's not one way to raise capital. You can raise capital through people you know, hard money lenders, banks, institutional banks. There's so many ways that you can raise capital.
Yeah.
So get out there and network.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not as hard as it might feel right now. Because once you do yours first.
And people think you just get that perception of being wealthy and that's how you're in real estate, but it's not really like that. It's most of the people that are in real estate use other people's money.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. I make good money, but I also use other people's money to get there.
Yeah. And that's okay. So, there's no shame in using other people's money.
No.
Like, it shouldn't be a pride thing. It shouldn't be a...
I think that is a lot to do with it, though, because I meet a lot of people that want to get into real estate, but their pride just doesn't let them do it because they don't understand that they need to borrow money to grow. You're not you're gonna do one deal a year for the rest of your life because you refuse to raise capital.
Yeah.
And I mean, the biggest companies like Apple has $60 billion in cash, and they still take loans to buy other companies and stuff.
Yes.
When they could just take some of that billions of dollars they had and buy the companies outright cash. They like to have that cash pile on the side.
Yeah.
So even the biggest of companies do it. So
you can too.
Yeah.
All right, and cut.
Damn.